Troy, we're having issues on Facebook.
Probably talk to a doctor about that.
I think he's done.
Night, and you know what that means. The Haunt Hour, with your host, Troy Krivolo. Susie Fleesick. And Dan Doble. Our guest tonight is Spencer Terry from the Haunted Attraction Association and Fear Factory, Salt Lake City. So sit back, strap in, and welcome to the Haunt Hour.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I never caught that. Sit back, strap in.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than strap on.
Is it though?
God, we're already there. 5 minutes. Wait, we're still in the pleasantries phase. We can do this. Okay.
I have to say, I still love the fact that my dog is got a bigger point in the intro than I do. Well done with that.
He did his walkout video.
And you fixed the Facebook error with literally.
I did. I don't know why, because we started before, so I don't understand. I always set it for 6:10, like you said.
Unless you set it for 6:10 our time.
Let's not be hasty now with that kind of mistake.
Look, I don't know. It works for YouTube. It just doesn't work for Facebook. But we're all live. Everybody can see us, so that's all good.
I put everything back up, so we are ready to go.
Welcome, everyone, to the third season of the Haunt Hour. it's episode 2, 1.5. I guess we could call it.
It's
way.
it's 2. It's 2.
It's 2.
No,
Episode two.
we will give Kevin his due. He was a guest.
Fair enough.
He talked about himself a lot, and there was other miscellaneous words.
You invited him on, so that makes him a guest.
I did. That was my mistake. I mean, my yeah.
Kevin, we love you. We love you. Thank you for coming on last week.
I love Kevin.
So what's going on? What's new? What's the word?
Well, you know,
we're a week closer to Halloween.
We are. So we should probably, that's probably something we should add to this is that we have to say how many more days till Halloween.
Yeah, we should put a countdown on here.
Yeah, we should have Susie do that. So Susie has to check what I'm just adding to Susie.
Hang on one second.
Write that down, Susie.
It's because Susie is also excited.
Siri, how many days till October 31st, 2023?
It's 238 days until then.
238 days. You're welcome. When do I get my paycheck?
It's in the mail along with the chai.
Damn.
So,
all right.
So season 3 brings a lot more new, interesting stuff. Correct, Troy? We've got an actual format that we're going to try and follow. Is that correct?
You mean,
who didn't watch last week?
Like you mean this?
Haunting news.
Haunting news. I thought I changed the font on that. I evidently did not. I did not like that font. The other ones have better font.
What, can you do it one more time?
Yeah, I want to see it. The T looks like a G.
Yeah, it's the T and the I at the end. I didn't like
know what it is.
The other cool intros have better, so I did better.
We trust you.
All right, so that's
on the news.
Yes.
On the news, what are we?
Dan?
Who wants to talk? Oh, you want me to talk first?
I'm
super excited. Even though Troy beat me to the social media punch on the line,
I did.
I didn't read the lines until after I sent the message to you saying this is what we're going to do, and I'm like, you really, mother. Anyway, I was scrolling through the Book of Faces, and I ran across a post by Mr. Bart Butler. And guess what's coming back? Haunter's Life. March 14th, if I do remember.
That's what it says.
Yeah, it's right there in big letters, green ones.
Which maybe that's another thing we're adding to Tuesday nights. Evidently.
What?
We've got Haunt Scene returning in April. We've got Transworld Live on right now, and we've got Haunter's Life. But Haunter's Life is on YouTube.
Yes.
Oh.
Thank
God. It Tuesday night as well?
Well, it looks like they're at least going to release an episode on Tuesday night. I don't know if it'll be every Tuesday.
Cool.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Bart and Mike. I'm excited, guys. I really am. So that's the news. Go check them out. They're on YouTube. A Haunter's Life. You can just YouTube it and you'll pull it up and subscribe. You got some great stuff. If you guys haven't followed them already and you don't know who Bart Butler is and Michael Edwards, two of the greatest haunters out there right now.
Hands down. Yep.
Doing some badass shit.
And they're funny to boot.
What's that?
Then they're funny to boot.
Oh, they are to boot.
They're very funny. They also have a TikTok too, so you can get that on the YouTube page there too.
This is true.
Yep.
What's going on? What else is new?
So I have my news, but it's in video format.
Oh,
of course it is.
Are you ready? Well, I just make all these cool videos. So are you ready?
Know.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Much love. Much
Kind
love.
of a little bit of chills.
The Terror Tours are coming back. Texas this year, hey?
We are formally from now on we will be in Texas no matter what. We have closed off the Northwest tours because we have done those haunts several times in a row. So we've done all of them several times. Since I'm moving to Texas, it makes more sense for me to concentrate on that part of the country. There will be another expansion next year, but that's secret.
We hear nothing. Nothing about conventions.
Nothing at all.
We are going to Houston, Texas this year. So hence the space theme.
Yes.
I have lots more kooky, silly, stupid marketing.
Are you
plans.
releasing what shows you guys are gonna?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Only because I have one that is waiting to get back to me. So if anybody here on the interwebs knows how to get somebody at 13th floor Houston, then that would be awesome if they could get back to me. So I have messages out. So but yes, so that's a little teaser. It could very well be 13th floor Houston. So
I've been to that show. It's a good show.
Yeah, but we have some awesome, unique things, some lights on tours, some dinners, some really cool stuff. And the hotel we're picking has a fire pit outside next to the pool. I mean, come on.
Can't get any better than that.
Right? Sitting around drinking some chai and some alcohol. I'm just going to full circle this all night long.
I see how it goes. There's nothing wrong with that.
Susie, do you have any news?
I don't. I have nothing that compares with what you guys have.
And we'll just okay. All right, we're good. Oh, she's back. Oh, and we're at the profanity. So I guess the next thing is gonna be this.
Ooh, how-to of the week.
Yes. So Dan's favorite haunt in my neck of the woods is the Outer Rim, which is the Star Wars haunted house.
I love that home haunt.
And this guy is literally like a mechanics and Raspberry Pi and taking something from a junkyard and an electrical shop and making it into awesome
like a human ET.
Oh, absolutely.
I missed that show. That was the show I didn't get to do last year. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the things that he did was premiere an ad for Metallica, evidently. I love Metallica. Oh, I can skip it. Here we are. All right, now we're back. So one of the things, it's not so much a specific DIY today, but this one also could be something that if somebody wants to get into like soundboard type of stuff, he's going to make it to where you can press these buttons. The people out on the street can press these buttons and it will make different sounds throughout the display and it will activate certain things. I kind of got into that myself, nowhere near what he's doing. But he's programming everything himself. And so you could also convert this into activating props, activating sounds and things like that, like he's doing. But his YouTube channel, The Outer Rim, is, I don't know why I'm not subscribed. Now I'm subscribed. Sometimes I try to check before these episodes to make sure I'm liked and subscribed to all the things that I'm promoting. I'm like, probably shouldn't do that. But yes, he is very, very technical, but he does it in a very non-technical way on the videos. So he says it in layman's terms a lot of times. But he has a ton of different how-tos, and basically everything he builds, he's making a how-to for it. And that's one of the greatest things about this industry is that people like that, he knows he's going to make a how-to about it. So he does the time, and all the effort to make this while he's creating it on his own. So it's pretty awesome. So you can go to The Outer Rim on YouTube and you can check out his how-tos. This one I think is pretty versatile for the more technical haunter out there that is comfortable with wiring and soldering and boards and all that. So I can't do that. I mean, and not that fast. God, that was fast. So that is our DIY of the week. And I think up next is...
What was that? I didn't catch it. Facts? That's right. Facts.
Would that be the Federal Administration of Conventions and Trade Shows? Because shows is the second word.
Why don't we just say it's fact? It's just fact.
Because it's fact.
2 words.
Yes, it is 2 words. It's hyphenate.
Did you ask Siri?
You get it? Huh?
Did you ask Siri? Is it 1 word or 2?
It's 1 word.
No,
it's 1 word.
Could it?
It's 2
could it be
words. The
hyphenated?
Federal Administration deemed it 2 words.
Sorry, my bad.
But anyways, here is your double convention minute. Midsummer Scream has announced that their passes are on sale. Starting 3 days ago when I got this. But I will tell you that the general admission is fine, but you're going to wait outside for hours. And
unless you know somebody or you're a vendor.
Well, yes, or you can get the gold bat pass, and the gold bat pass will get you much shorter line. It is more expensive, but if you want to sit outside in July in Long Beach, California for 2 to 3 hours in the early afternoon, be my guest. But I will be going straight through the gold line.
There's crazy long lines for that.
Yeah, there's like 30,000 people that show up to this thing. It is not just for Halloween.
Yeah,
it is
not kidding.
Halloween
It's bonkers.
Yeah,
it's just everything. Yeah.
I
like the graphic. That's cute.
Well, and that's kind of their theme this year is like vintage board game Halloween type stuff. So they kind of mix the vintage horror and Halloween stuff with the board games. And they are also the convention, or they're a convention that does the haunts inside the convention hall, giant haunts. Last couple years ago, they did photo ops because it was the year after COVID, and they just wanted to, instead of having people go through a building, they wanted you to just do photo ops. So all the haunts built really, really, really cool photo ops. And this year it's probably back to regular haunts, but there'll probably be some photo ops in there too. So that's the one thing that this has that MHC has one haunt now in the middle, but Midsummer Scream does a bunch, and it's a huge part of it, and it is not to be missed. The other one that came up at almost the exact same time is that the Midwest Haunters Convention, regular, passes for everybody to buy all the things, the haunt tours, the convention tickets, all that is now on sale as well. So you now can buy all the tickets for all the shows except for the Texas Haunters Convention, which when that comes up, we will announce it.
Do you know how much the ticket price went up for Haunters Convention? Or for any of them? The price has gone up. I know.
No, you know what? That is on me. I did not go and check that out. But 40% off is probably a pretty good deal. I know.
Just pulling shit out of your ass, or where do you see?
No, it's 40% off.
Midsummer's 40%.
Oh no, yeah, I thought you were talking about the Midwest Haunters Convention.
No. Midwest is regular. Well, Midwest has a price until I think it's a week before the show, and then it goes up a little bit because then they have to make up, they have to scramble and make badges and stuff like that. So, we have an answer. Midwest for both days. Thank you.
Is there a second ticket you can get for Midwest, like the other thing? Is there
there's a VIP pass with all the classes and everything, or a bunch of classes and the costume ball and things like that. And then they have the two big tours. They've got
for anybody that's watching. Does anybody remember when Midwest Haunters Convention tickets were $5 to get in?
Oh, no. I did not know that. I am not against, there's the two school of thoughts with the whole, pricing, and as adult as this is. So if there's any kids listening, earmuffs, I was always confused about why strip clubs charged you to get in, because then that's less money that I'm going to give. Or not me, somebody else walking in. Not me. I would never go into one of those establishments.
Never.
But that I always thought, okay, well, that takes away from what you would spend at a vendor booth if you're paying, $50, $100, $200 to the convention. But
I never thought of it that way.
I'm seeing a lot of different sides of that now. There's the thought that if you make it higher priced, you're only going to get people who are really going to buy something. If you get lower priced, then you're going to get everybody in there, but it's going to be a lot more people and a lot more social activity, networking, things like that. So there's probably a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation with pricing, and nobody's ever going to be happy.
I'd rather pay top dollar to get in because I know there's not going to be people in my way when I'm trying to make it to a vendor booth to discuss and purchase, because that gets on my.
I would spend $200 to go to Transworld.
Yeah,
to get in.
I think that's
a vendor, or if I were a buyer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hands
and
down.
the other shows, $50, $100. Texas was $100 last year for VIP. That got you costume ball, that got you a T-shirt, swag bag, the trade show floor, classes, reasonable. Everything. And then they had like a $25 day pass or weekend pass. So they all have options to make it worthwhile based on your budget. But
anti-ways.
I think the last thing before we get into anything else.
Oh,
That's
shit.
cute.
Troy has something
That's
to
so
say.
cute.
Troy
I do,
has
I
something
do.
to say.
Where's
I
my
do,
button? I should have a button that says
I do
I've
have
got something
I
to
do
say.
I do have something to say. So for the last several years, and I did write a script on this because I didn't want to get off script that I just did right now. It's been a thing to get blocked or deleted or yelled at for asking questions, wondering where your purchased item is. Let's say you bought something at Transworld and it's been 6 months and you've done the other avenues and it's still not there. You may go on their Facebook page and say, hey, where's my stuff? And then you get deleted or blocked. People may ask a question about an event or ask where their product is after other methods have failed and the comment gets deleted or answered privately. My thought is that if you're going to delete or block comments or questions, it tells me you have something to hide. And to me, that hurts your reputation even further. When I'm booking hotels for my tours, I look at reviews and read the bad ones to see how well the hotel responded publicly. Without that, or with a form response, I'm weary about doing business with them because it's my name on the line when those attendees go in that hotel. Without an actual investigative body for the industry, like the media is for politicians, a watchdog group is for businesses, all of us are that for this industry. And we shouldn't be shamed or blocked for asking respectful questions. Respectful questions. Don't be yelling out names and cursing and stuff like that. Of the industry to not, oh, sorry, I skipped ahead. Or even bad press can be turned into good via your responses to those questions. I challenge any and all aspects of this industry to not delete comments or questions or block people in an effort to increase transparency and honesty. It is not a secret that I am one who will ask pointed questions. I do. And seek information, but I'm not the only one. And people who ask questions might just be asking it for those who are too shy to ask themselves. And then information is shared to all, not just via private messages or not answered at all. Let's work to increase the honesty and bring back the good nature of the industry that thrives on sharing, groupthink, and common ground. There.
All said. Well said.
I may or may not have been.
I have to agree. Too many times people pull it, delete it, pull it, and then answer privately, or just don't answer at all. And I don't think that's right. I think if it's social media, you're out there publicly, you have to be transparent. You have to answer the questions hard.
I agree.
I mean, and honesty is the right way to go about it. I mean, if you screwed up, then you, as a vendor, you got to say, listen, I screwed up, or no, I didn't screw up. This is why, and let everybody else know, because it helps people like Troy that go around and see that, and then we'll be able to back up the vendor or the buyer.
Right.
On the same line, like, how do you feel if somebody would ask a question and they'd say, I'll private message you? Do you feel like that's something that's a no-no because everybody deserves to know?
Well, I think if, let's say you were asking, where's my item or something like that, you could answer publicly a very short and sweet, honest answer, and then private message them the actual, have the dialogue.
Like both ways, because that's one thing I hate is I'll send you a PM. I hate that for so many things.
At least everybody else knows you saw it and you're at least helping them. But to me, it's going to help you in the long run. If, let's say, you had something that wasn't getting delivered and other people, and that usually gets other people to say, well, mine hasn't either. Then you have the issue of that everything gets solved and people get to see your resolution. And they are more willing to do business. I know every year there are people that go to Transworld or MHC or even the other ones. They order something and it's
they don't
October
get their
1st.
stuff.
Where's my stuff? And then the message. We have the Haunt Vendor Review group, which is good, but it's a group. It's not out there publicly.
The Haunted Attraction Association too. Would they help?
Well, that could be something that we could ask about.
Great segue.
There's the segue.
There he is.
You're like, oh, I did that.
I did.
Right in.
Right in. And there he is. He just
there he is. Spence, how are you?
Dan, that was perfect. Well done.
Like
that was good.
Off, and I slid you right in. Right? Can't do any better than that.
I love it. I love it. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on again. This is the second season. You've got some things you want to talk about, obviously. Some things that you accomplished, some things you might not have gotten to yet.
Yep. All the things.
All the things.
All the things.
So for everybody that's watching, Spence, you're the president of the Haunted Attraction Association, correct?
Yes, sir.
And also a haunted attraction owner, correct?
Correct.
There you go.
Yep. Equity owner for a few years, GM for I don't know how long now, 6 years, 7 years,
Feels
and
like a
on my
lifetime,
own
right?
in Iowa. So it's been a fun ride.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. Let's talk about some Haunted Attraction Association stuff.
Let's do it.
How do you have a breakdown for this, Troy? Do we want to let Spence talk and then we're gonna fire off all the questions?
Kind of give the how did you start getting in the attraction industry part of the association, also I don't remember if because I made Dan do some homework this week and he actually watched the last episode that Spencer was on. Did he talk about his past, like how he got into haunting in general? Did we already cover that?
Yes, briefly. Okay. I mean, it's the elevator pitch of Iowa.
Yeah, we can dive deep. Right? It's a fun story. Like we all have a killer story of how we got in this.
That's true,
right?
So let's go with that. Yeah. Okay. So how did you get into the attraction industry?
The wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
most of us.
Exactly. No, I remember being very young. My mom and dad are divorced, and they honestly argue about everything, including when I started my home haunt, which I was either 7, 8, or 9 years old. We don't know. But I remember that I went trick-or-treating with some friends, got a really big candy bar at house number 1, went to door number 2 with my friends. And it was like some stupid, I'm going to probably offend someone if I say like dots or something. So, so then I was like, screw that. I'm going back to this other house. And so I went back to the other house, scored another great candy bar. And then I was waiting for my friends to come back. And so I hid in the bushes and like waited and waited and waited. And the right moment, nailed it. And I was hooked at that moment. I was like, and then I came home and my parents were like, let's see all your candy. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Let me tell you about what I just did. And from there, my dad loved it. It was like, okay, this kid obviously has problems. And so I need to build him a casket so that he can continue doing this.
I need to build him a casket.
And it's downhill from there. And I home haunted for a while and loved it. But it was like back, I don't remember, like back in the day, I mean, this would have been in like the 80s when in this casket, there was like this spot where, you're laying and there was like a cutout of the plywood. Yes, it was one of those like OG plywood caskets. Mm-hmm. And you could like reach out and grab someone. Of course, heaven forbid you don't do that now. And yeah. Good times. So it all started there. And I just kind of 1 year, just after another of adding and more and more and more and more and more. And it's where it went. History. It's pretty awesome. And then we moved to Iowa. We were in Iowa, and my wife and I started a nonprofit there to help. It's actually really cool. It was a town of 1,200 people, no stoplight, and we wanted to do something for the community. The community kept asking us, like, what could we do? Because we were supposedly these city slickers from the city that have all these ideas, and we're like, no, like the ideas that you guys are coming up, this is incredible stuff. Like we need to do what you guys want to do. And so we ran with it. And one of the things is that the youth in the town wanted to do a haunted house. And they're like, listen, like you guys already have the stuff. You have your crap up all over your yard. Why don't we just turn that into a haunted house? And we did. And we were just down the street from Mike Ross from Sydney. And well, not down the street, a couple cities over, but it was awesome. And we had a really great time. And literally downhill from there. Because as we all know, we all kind of get in this vacuum and we just kind of kiss our families and our lives goodbye. And we're like, let's do this. Yeah.
It's definitely true.
It is.
Good stuff. It is. It's been a lot of fun.
And how did you get to be the owner of Fear Factory?
Well, there are many. Fear Factory is this massive, we're about $9 million asset. The idea is that it's a 6-building facility, 2 underground passages. It's a 90,000 square foot attraction. The majority owners are a family. It's the Dunfield family. So if anyone has ever met Rob or Heidi or Keith or Cindy or Bob, that's the family. They're the majority owners. And so they bought this and opened it in 2011. and have done a great job. They are so passionate about what they do and how they do it, but they also needed some strength on the business side. And so that's where they brought me in to be able to help run the company, build some budgets, add some structure, all of those fun things. And so it's a really good team. There's definitely, I have plenty of weaknesses, and where my weaknesses are, somebody else has those strengths. And that's been really awesome to be able to have a team that understands that and works with that. And it's been really cool. So it's a great teamwork mentality. It's, we have almost 400 employees. I think payroll last year was 370. And so it's a lot. It's a lot to juggle. And it does take an entire team. We have a great leadership team, and we do what we can every single year. We got some really cool, things. There are some secrets happening this year specifically as we roll out some new creative. I'm going to share a couple of those here first before anywhere else, because why not? And, but because I also think that's what Haunter is all about. And Troy, well done, because all of these new little snippets of facts, and Troy has something to say. And I think that's the beauty of this show, is that there's a lot of people who want to watch it, not just for knowledge and information, but also it is the how-tos, it is the banter, it is the candid conversations. It's those questions that I think at the end of the day, that's what this is about, and the industry needs more of that. So
yes. Transparency and candid conversations.
I'm all about it. Yep. Good stuff.
Definitely.
That's why this show is called the Haunt Hour-ish.
I have to do that.
So, I don't think we've ever gone in. I think there was one episode we went 57 minutes, and the rest of it
we ran out of things to ask, I think.
Probably.
So Spencer, you've got a lot going on. You decided to add to your plate and go out and run for president, and obviously, or were you nominated?
Why the hell didn't y'all warn me ahead of time?
Run for president.
Run.
That's good.
It's an amazing, well, we talked about this, I think, when the last time I was on the show, that, at the end of the day, I want to be involved in something that gives back. And for years, I always felt like I pay my membership dues for HAA, and I got a little bit, but I didn't really get a lot. And the more and more and more and more I heard, that was the similar story, which was we get something, but we want more, and we want a lot more. And so when I first approached, someone actually asked me to consider coming on the board, and we talked about it, and I didn't get in that first round. And when I came back the second round, I was like, okay, you guys, I'm serious this time. I really do. I'd like to do something, and I'd like to make an impact somehow. And maybe it's going to be positive. It might be negative. I might mess the whole thing up, and who knows? So the goal is to do things great, and I think we're doing that. We definitely have. I know that we're not going to get 2 items specifically accomplished this year. Good news, they're both research and evaluation. But that's okay, because that means we're researching them already and evaluating, and we'll roll that over into the next 3-year strategic plan that we're going to start researching for, and getting membership information, and start surveying that content so we can get that ready as well. So it's pretty exciting. It's been, I think, in general, I think, we're moving in the right direction. We have a new vice president as well. I don't know if hopefully most folks watching will know Brent Wilson from up in Idaho.
Yeah.
I thought it was very important that we have someone who can, should I get hit, my team calls it the proverbial Mack truck, but I have this Mack truck idea that at any given time, any of us could get hit by a Mack truck, and we have to be ready, and we have to plan for that succession to happen. And so, Brent is doing a great job. He has jumped in full speed ahead. I don't even know that he put on his bathing suit. He's like, this is going to be awesome. And he's doing a great job. So we're really happy with it. And we have board member nominations that are happening, and there's a lot happening. We've got new focus groups specifically that we're going to be launching, which will be really great. We've got these mixers that are happening on every single every single month, which we are not doing on a Tuesday.
Yay!
Can I stop you right there? What are these said mixers? I mean, last time we talked about mixers, we were talking about it being like a physical location. Is that not from what I was listening to and watching and researching, it's no longer physical, it's more of a virtual type thing, or are there going to be both? What's the plan with that?
Great question. So originally the idea is that how cool would this be if we could have mixers regionally and have like a board member host something? That is not off the radar. We are hoping to be able to do something similar to that, where we can have some regional meet and greets kind of things. The idea though is how do what we're hearing from most members is that that's a really cool idea, but it costs money, it costs time, and I don't have either. And so we went back to the drawing board and said, cool, you're right. We're not. What do you need? And so that's where we were like, all right, let's do it online for now. But I do think that there really is some value of getting people in a room together doing this work. And we're trying to figure out how to do that. And part of that is going to be budget. Of how do we help people if each haunt within a surrounding area, and we figure out ways of if we give back for membership dues. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but that's part of the strategic plan over the next 3 years. Is we want to be able to have enough money in the bank where we can do some really cool things, and also not spend all of our money. I mean, I was on the phone. I don't know if I can say with who, but in about 10 or 15 years ago, there was over $200,000 in the association bank account.
Wow.
And it's gone. It's not there. And a lot of it is because there's these massive high priced items. there's a national PR campaign. There's all and it costs money at the end of the day.
Yep.
Oscars almost cost us $10,000 to rent the room, pay for the food. It's expensive. And it burns up fast. And so part of our questions that we're asking members is, this is your money. Like, how do you want us spending your money? This isn't our decision. This is your decision. What do you need? How do you want it? And how do we get there? So I think it'll be really cool. But the topics of the mixers that are online, Jim Werner from Pennhurst and Eloise has been just killing it on gathering content, getting information about what are the mixers that people want to hear, what specific content. He's got a bunch of different topics that are lined up. In fact, I think what is today? The 7th. I think that the social media is going to go out either tomorrow on the 8th or the 9th, but he's got a lineup of all the different topics, the times. He's also going to be doing some vendor spotlights as well. So that's all going to come out pretty.
And where can people see that for the all that information? Is that all through Facebook or on the website or?
Yep. It'll be in the email Scream Zine for members. And if you're not a member, you'll be able to see it through our main Facebook social media page. It'll be inside the members only group as well, but we want to make sure that people can see what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the critiques as well, which is I'd like to be a member, but I don't know what the hell you guys are doing.
Right.
And we realized, you're right. Like, we have to do a better job of telling people what we're doing. So
one of the ideas that popped up while you were asking about, where you can have some of these mixers, is I would try to maybe get a hold of people who run the associations in the regions like Chicago Haunt Builders, Ohio, Texas, Northwest, SoCal Haunters. I know there's one up in the Northeast, but it's not very well. I think I know who runs it, but they would have, like Jim Slanker from Chicago Haunt Builders, he can find you 30 places to have any sort of mixer in probably 20 minutes,
or less. Yes.
And you have all the haunt, most of those associations have their haunt, many pro haunt owners in there, or at least people that work for them, that they might be able to say, hey, yeah, we can have it at my place. I know there's probably 5 right off the top of my head in the Northwest that would probably be fine with having a mixer at their building. They all have a queue line area. They can move the stanchions around and put some tables and chairs and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be a lot of work where you wouldn't have to spend that kind of money to, so they buy some pizzas or, KFC or something like that, but
I can't believe you didn't say Taco Bell. Why not Taco Bell?
Well, I mean, party packs. I mean, hey, I got you. I got you covered on that. I think I know a guy. But the associations already have a really good hold on their areas and the people in them, that I would try to tap those people and say, hey, and especially if you have members in those groups as well, say, hey, you need to reach out to this group and say, let's have a mixer and invite the haunts and things like that. I know that Ohio is doing a really good job of that on their own, about bringing in, they go to different haunts and have their monthly meetings, and they bring people from all over the place. They bring vendors in, other people to talk, things like that. And Max, who will be on the show later this year, he's doing a phenomenal job of doing, a similar idea. So that's just
I like it.
Idea.
Thank you. I already wrote it down.
Dan, did you have something to ask him about a certain video?
Oh, I got some things. Before, well, you're gonna just jump right in and let me.
Dang.
Well, you seem to be really upset about this video, Dan.
Oh,
is this the video on the website?
Yeah.
I was gonna end with this.
Yes.
I was gonna end with this. Last year.
Oh, you're gonna end with. You didn't tell me that.
In. Don't worry, I'll ad lib, Troy. Thanks a lot. I guess I'll ask the question. You said last year that there was somebody working on making a new video for the HHA.
Yes.
And I see that they're still working on that.
Yes.
Just like you're working on your walkout video, Dan.
Hey. This is not about Dan Doble right now.
Sorry, God.
You are so right. In fact, so this is one of our things that I don't know that we're going to get to, but we had the idea that everything's done up, and at Transworld, we were going to record this entire thing. We had the videography team there and everything. Did it get done? Or no? Or do we have time to breathe at Transworld? No.
No,
Shame
we
on
never
us
have
for
time
not
to breathe
thinking
at
we should.
Transworld.
So we actually have brainstormed an idea of how we're going to do this. It's not going to be, I really think, it's kind of cool to get to film it at a convention, like where the action's happening, right?
Yes.
And maybe this is going to be a 2.0, because we all agree, like, this is so ancient at this point that it just
very
needs,
archaic.
in fact, it's going to get removed.
Looks like he's 25. How old is this?
Text only, because it's
also boring. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's a lot of content. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't even. How long is it? You hover over that sucker.
It's 3.5 minutes.
Shoot, I talk forever, y'all. That's gonna be a 9-minute video. If they let,
I don't know. You lose me.
We are in trouble.
You lose me around 45 seconds. So
we're still working on video, is what you're telling me.
I can tell you. So I don't know if you had a chance to see any of the photos from the Transworld booth, but we actually created a video that is going to.
I love the new booth.
Thank you. A lot of work went into it. And so one of the things is that TV that was there, and it was essentially it's a scroll. But that's the idea, is that we at least need to get information out there. And so we're going to upload and get that other video replaced. And that's what's going to get there for the time being. But I would agree. There were 2 things at Transworld that we didn't get to do. That was one of them. And it is what it is. But I'm glad that we're all on the same page, that we all agree that it's time for a new video.
Yes.
Yes.
So going back to rewinding, before I was gonna, ask about the video, I was gonna say, you said last year change was in the air. Change was in the air. What are the changes that you made from last year this time to now?
He was on 2 years ago, by the way.
Or was it 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
He was in season 1.
Oh, where did he go in season 2? I thought he was coming back right away.
Nope.
Did I miss that? Oh,
Yeah,
we gave him a year to breathe. Okay.
Time.
It was a lot.
maybe that
it
was
was
it.
a lot.
Time flies, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. We can talk. Should we break it down, member or vendor?
Yeah, let's do member first. And I mean, if Troy has to talk about him, we'll never get done. But I feel, Spence, that you can give a bullet point on member and vendor. Can you?
Yes.
Whatever you think is more important.
I'll give you the short list. Okay. So on the member side, there's a couple of things. So one is that we really wanted to focus on how members are making decisions, not the board. So this is why, and it takes time, and I get it. But, this is the reason why we poll members to be able to say, hey, what do you need? What do you want? There are definitely things that there are things that even I don't agree with, and I'm like, the members are telling us what they want. We have to listen to what the members want. Period. End of story. And so that's one of the things is rather than us, we're the board of directors. We are elected to be able to make those decisions on our own. And that's why the members vote to put us in that position to make those decisions, but we also unanimously, we all agree that if there's an opportunity for us to be able to check in with membership, if it's something that we're like, we don't really know for sure, go back to the members. So that's number one. Number two, background checks. So that was something that was a really big deal 2 and 3 years ago when we did those when we first did our strategic plan. So many people that wanted to have background checks. And as we looked into it, there's obviously it's political and there's content and it's expensive. But we've been working on it for 1.5 years and we locked that in. So HalloweenBackgroundChecks.com is our specific partner. We, instead of I think it's like 32 or 35 bucks for a nationwide background check, members get it for, I think it's $12.50.
Oh, nice.
And then on top of that, they can do a deep dig for like an extra $5, which essentially runs every state, every county. I'm sure someone's going to find something about me somewhere. Like when he was telling me about how great this is, I was like, cool, that's awesome. So we're really happy with that. Obviously, there are some states, and this is why we have a disclaimer on there. Please do your background checks ahead of time find out what you can and cannot do in your state first, because
I love this. This is a great idea.
Great idea.
So that was one of our big things. Yeah, I think it's going to be, and it's a good for the states that are able to do background checks. It seems to be beneficial, and for the states that can't, or there's some concern for doing background checks, then unfortunately, this is probably going to be a benefit that's not going to be as beneficial. But it's there for the majority, and people have been asking about it a lot. So, other member things. So we rolled out part of the Top Haunts program is. Anyone who meets the criteria for the Top Haunts program, we added a couple of new haunts this year. All of those folks they actually get some national and local media spotlight, which is pretty cool. So instead of just doing this big national, big push that cost almost $20,000, we're going with a new firm that essentially costs half that, and we're still getting the same amount of foot traffic and insights, which is great. And so all these folks that you're seeing on your screen, these are all the folks who have met the criteria for Top Haunts, and there's a list of them. That said, not only do they get this local and national media, but one of the things that we're working on, this has again been member request, is this year we're starting to evaluate some kind, and I don't know what this is going to look like yet. And I'm going to put a plug in, if I can really quick, that if you're a member, we would love your input, because we're going to be building a task force to help us build what this is going to look like. But the idea is that the Top Haunts program, essentially, one of the requirements is that you have to have over 10,000 attendees to qualify for this program, to qualify for this award, which is fantastic.
How is that proven? Sorry,
yeah. So
I saw somebody on there. That's all.
Yes. So, one of my questions was, there's a lot of really great attractions that are out there that probably don't have 10,000 attendees. And so this is part of what we're working on, is we're working on this new Top Haunts revitalization, to where we want to be able to have either, and I don't know what this is going to look like yet. This is what the task force is going to have. They're researching this right now, is do we do a small, like a home haunt award? Do we do a mid-tier award? And do we do a Top Haunts, or do we rename all of it? I have no idea what's going to come out of that. But that was one of the other things that I think will be really exciting. So yeah, it's in motion. I'm pretty excited about it, but yeah. Susie, to answer your question, as far as how they prove that attendance, the attendance is usually based off of what they're telling us, and then B, through third-party evals. So we look at how, take Scare Factor, for example. So they're going through, and they typically can see on any given night how many people are there when they're doing a third-party evaluation. And then we look at how many nights they're operating to make sure that those numbers add up.
Okay.
There might be a message later on tonight after the show from Susie.
I'm in. Yes. So those are at least on the member side. Vendor side, we really have worked hard because the vendors, at the end of the day, the vendors they've been putting out some pretty cool stuff. And COVID definitely was pretty rough. And I think it hit vendors pretty hard. And so we were trying to figure out ways that we can give back, and we can not only have vendors who are supporting the association, but it should also go back as well. And so we built a whole vendor ROI. So when folks are donating, a lot of vendors want to be able to donate product to the auction, and they donate that as kind of their membership for the year. And so rather than just saying, cool, thanks for your donation, here's your membership, the what else is what we're doing. So we're working with vendors to be able to help highlight them, spotlight their content more, give them more bandwidth, kind of really help signal boost what they're doing, how they're doing it, what's getting ready, what are the new products that are coming up online. We have some vendors that, rather than doing their sneak peek or their unveiling for a show on their site, they'll send us the product. We'll do it through the HAA page, through the Haunted Attraction Association Facebook page. So we've really been focusing on ways that we can give back to vendors. And one of the other big things is that we have been asked why vendors cannot be on the board. Good question.
That is a good question. Why is that?
So we have gone back into our bylaws and we've dug through all of them. And at the end of the day, the bylaws have been written specifically that you have to be an attraction operator or owner, but operator to be on the board of directors, which makes sense. It's a Haunted Attraction Association. I get it. But as we know very well, operators are part of the industry, as are vendors. And so we've worked now on being able to bring on new folks who represent attractions and vendors, which has been something that we were pretty happy about. And I think it'll again give more it'll just give more visibility and more opportunity to vendors to have an actual vendor voice on the board. I mean, obviously we've got like Alan Hobbs, there's Alan. So Alan is a great vendor, but I think it would be great for Alan to not, it's nice to have other folks in the room who are also bringing up vendor concerns or questions as we continue guiding the industry. So so there's a little bit of member and vendor.
You could always have a vendor that wants to sign up and then wants to skew things, towards his advantage or her advantage, or to the vendor advantage versus the attraction, so, I mean, I wouldn't say this would happen, but they could be skewed more towards, well, let's help the vendors more when it is an attraction association, maybe somebody wants to start a vendor association, over there, but
balance is key. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask the question. Chaos. How are we broadening it? Are we going online? Are we going to go to other shows? How is it going to get closer to me and easier for me to get Chaos certified?
Yes and yes are both of those answers. So last year we did, we grew. We actually went out to the last 2 years. In fact, we did, I don't remember how many credits we did at MHC. But we're also going to be doing more credits coming up at additional shows. This is part of our 2024, 2027. The online Chaos is going to be happening later this year. It's already designed and developed, ready to go. And the cool thing about that online is that part of this recertification, there's, for a long time, Chaos has kind of just been chaos. Like it's been kind of internal for our industry. Love it or hate it. Some people are like, man, who cares about Chaos? Some people are like, this is fantastic. It's great. And it's saved my butt more than once. I'm one of those people that, when we have to do our property fire inspection, we'll show up. Usually it's Rob and I, and we'll show up at the gate. We'll welcome them in, and we have a manila envelope with us, and it has every single person who has graduated from the Chaos program, their certification. And we have the outline of what Chaos covers. So if they say, what is this program? We can pull it up. Here's the HAA logo. Here's what we do here. And it's kind of like a splash page. Mm-hmm. But most of them have no idea that it even exists. And when they find out that we are invested in training our team that's a great opening to be able to have the conversation. So, which is fantastic. But the recertification is going to be happening because, similar to other national programs that are safety programs, there's usually a 3 or 5 year recertification, excuse me. So that's part of what we're doing, is the online is going to be completely recertified online. We have some really cool content that's been brought in. Brent Wilson, who is our new VP. Folks that may not know him, he's a home haunter. He's a haunter. He does a 30,000 square foot haunt up in Idaho. But he also does a lot of work in building code, safety, design. He does a lot of work for Amazon and Costco, Walmart, and some really big buildings. And so he's been able to bring in a really unique lens in building safety and management, which has been really key. So we've added that content to the Chaos program. Same thing for Jim Werner. Jim Werner is a national EMS certified trainer. He also he's actually rolling out this new youth protection video, which we can talk about as well if you want. And he's been able to add a lot of EMS safety training into Chaos. So we've really been growing the content of it and kind of dusting off and saying, all right, these are the pieces we want to keep. Let's bring in some new relevant content and talk about some more modern things that are happening in the industry and how we can learn from that. So I'm really happy with where Chaos is at. Do I think it can be better? Absolutely. We even had a couple of comments that it should be a 6 or an 8 hour course, but I don't know. That's a lot of time to sit in a chair. And even if we were to break it up over time, I don't know. But I think the credit hour system works really well. And it'll be really nice to be able to also offer classes in other shows as well as online. We're going to do I think one or two Chaos classes. I think it may be one that Brett Molitor has been working on getting an online course that'll be a certification. So for people who have their 7 credit hours and they just need that one more, but they're not going to get to a show for the next couple of years for financial reasons, they're going to be able to get it this way. So we're getting there. So if there's one thing that I have learned about being president is that this ship is big enough that even I get really impatient because I'm like, let's get this shit done. Like, let's do some stuff. And it's a big boat and it's hard to turn the boat as fast as we want.
So is it still only at Transworld and MHC? Is that correct for
the Chaos classes?
Yeah, in-person classes.
As of now, yes. We had talked about doing one at Texas. We talked about doing one at Midsummer. As of right now, we haven't developed those yet because we haven't gotten an okay from them. But we've looked at some other options, and I think that's one of the things that'll be exciting about how we're looking at the next 3 years and where do we grow.
Getting it out to other states that are not. Let's be honest, it's not a cheap date to go to Transworld. And it's not a cheap date to go to Chicago either for Midwest. Yep. So how does somebody that's in Texas or California or even on the East Coast, there's nothing out there.
Right.
How do people, other than flying in and spending thousands of dollars to get Chaos certified, you have to be certified before you can recert, correct?
Yes, you have to be you have to go through the certification first.
So
yep. And there's a long when Chaos first was designed, it was designed with Transworld, and so there's a connection there. But I think overall, as we continue growing the industry, we also we have to be in more places. That's really all.
I agree.
So that's the idea.
That leads me into my next question: more places. Where else is the haunted attraction going to be showcasing their booth, I suppose, at other trade shows, or do you guys have plans for that?
We do. Yeah. In fact, we had a question that we polled as part of our State of the Industry questionnaire of what are the shows, like if you could pick your top 3 shows that you want us to spend your money to have representation at that show, where do you want us? We purposely didn't make it multiple choice either because we didn't want to say, hey, here's some, we didn't want to guide that question, right? So we just left it blank. and let people fill them in, and we just filtered them. The top 3 shows, Transworld was obviously number 1. It was like 5 times, 6 times more than anything else. But it was MHC and Midsummer Scream both tied. And then the next one was Texas Haunters. Yeah. So those essentially are our top 3. And so we've now reached out already to those 3 shows to say, do you want us to be there? If you do, what are the things that we can bring that's going to benefit your show?
Yep.
How do we make it better? And we go from there. So yeah, I know obviously we'll be at MHC. To my knowledge, I know Alan Hops will be at Texas Haunters. So he's going to be reaching out. And then if all goes well, I'm going to be personally out at Midsummer Scream. Cause I agree. Like there's not a lot happening West Coast. And so I want to be able to have some representation somewhere. So
that's still not helping the East Coast people though.
I was just gonna say,
but there's no
right.
Yeah, there's no conventions really that
it would have been nice if a newer one would have not been in that spot and maybe went to the East Coast. Like say a Boston or a North Carolina or a,
it's expensive.
I understand that, but we know how many places are up in the Northeast alone. You've got all those states up there that are really compact. There's a lot of haunters up. There's a lot of haunts. Yep. You've got Pennsylvania. You could do Philadelphia, and maybe we don't need 4 shows in one long single line from Chicago down to Texas.
Yep.
I don't think we need a single file line.
No, we don't. It's okay. So Transworld is, I'm not flying there because I'm just not flying 5, 6, 7 people to Transworld. Right. And, if I'm driving, it's a 9.5, 10-hour drive. It's a long trip. You know what I mean? And this is totally unrelated, but I don't go to socialize. I don't go to party and socialize. I go to do business. And from what I've heard, there's just a lot of people on that floor and I just can't waste my time.
It is. That is a, obviously,
I haven't been there in a couple
conversation
years,
for another time, but I agree. There is a lot of fluff on that show floor that probably needs to be a price increase to fluff that out.
Definitely. So if any of the 8 people watching would like to start a convention on the East Coast, just get a hold of Troy.
Oh, don't get a hold of me. I want to stay married and I want to stay sane. There's the 2 things I need to stay.
Right.
So even though it's up to an hour, we're going to still go a little bit longer because I have something that I would like to ask Spencer. So in like less than a minute, let's go through the 2 or 3 different segments of the industry and tell me why they should join the association. So we'll start with home haunters.
Oh, okay. I'm following you.
Oh, this is good. Good.
Yeah, this is good. Home haunters, why you should join HAA? This is the question. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, network. There are people who have already done it and have failed and have succeeded. And the goal is that if we're learning from our mistakes, then we should be willing to share those as well. So that's the reason I think over a third of our board of directors right now started as home haunters. And we have now brought on 2 who were home haunters who went pro within the last 5 years. I'm going to put pro in air quotes because I don't really believe that. I think home haunters is very well.
Pro is it should be profit instead of pro, but it's professional means that you are operating as a business and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It doesn't mean quality by any means.
Yes, agree, hands down. So I think from a home haunter perspective, network, resources, startup, budget.
But if a home haunter did not want to go any further than be a home haunter, like me, I have no desire to run a haunted house. I have no desire to go any further. What would be my? There could be a reason that I shouldn't join, and maybe that would be is if I don't aspire to be anything more than displaying in there. There might not be a huge reason for me to spend the $50.
Yes. So, and that's part, I think when we look at, there obviously the ROI side of being a member, there's swag, there's drinks, there's discounted events that are happening.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing is just connecting those dots. Because I agree, like there's a lot of home haunters that they don't want to be anything else, and they're killing it as a home haunt.
Yeah.
Run with it. Like you're still making the industry great. You're still doing great things. So do that. And that's why, in fact, we're actually adding a specific advice. You know, we have a legal advisory committee. We have a marketing advisory committee. This year, we are firing up the home haunter advisory committee. It's going to be comprised of about 10 different home haunters. And that's the idea, is that we want to have people so that if you're a home haunter and you're like, hey, how do I do better marketing? How do I got a neighbor who hates me. What do I do?
Oh, yeah.
And there's someone, right? I don't know. So then that's the idea, is that you at least have that network. You can reach out, post it on the page and say, hey, I need some help. And you've got a bunch of people immediately at your resource. So that was probably more than a minute. Damn.
So like a smaller, you know, like a really small haunt, under the 10,000 for sure, like a small little charity haunt that just kind of operates in the shadows of their city and they're not a big deal. You know, why would they? And I mean, maybe they don't want to get any bigger. Maybe they can't get any bigger, you know, because of budgets, whatever. Why would they need to join?
Yeah. So this was a big learning moment. I think when we reached out to members, is everyone wants a bigger business. Like I would have thought that there are people that are like, I'm good. Like I got my 10K. I'm open 5 nights, 10 nights out of the season. I cannot do any more. I can't hire more people.
Right.
I'm good.
Out there.
I was wrong. Across the board, we keep hearing people like, I need more. Like, how do I do more marketing? How do I hire more people? How do I get the legal help that I need? My city's telling me that I can't operate now, and I can instead of doing 10 days, I can only do 7 days. So is there any help out there from the legal side? And that's where we've been able to, I would say probably a good 60% of the resources that we're designing right now are probably the 1,000 to 15,000 occupancy range. There's just a lot of people that want a lot of those resources. And so it's designed that way. So yeah, that's ultimately, yeah, there's a ton of resources that are available, all the way up to handbooks, to large group trainings. There's a little bit of everything. And then you've got, because at that point you are going to go into the professional side. So then you also have a sexual harassment training video. You have the new video that's getting released. We're actually going to be shooting this and getting it ready next month, which is the youth protection video, specifically about 18 and under and minors. How do we protect minors that are either volunteering or employees within our organizations? And how do we make sure that they're safe as, you know, as staff, and that the operators are safe for lawsuit. So that's a new video coming out.
Awesome. I think we know why Pro Haunts want to join, so I think we don't need to skip that. But he actually said a word that was an awesome segue to something.
Absolutely. Okay, so we were talking about minors. Does your attraction, this is on the heels of the whole Chick-fil-A's big announcement this week, does your attraction allow for unaccompanied minors? What would you have rules on that?
I'm sorry, before you answer that, Spence, can somebody fill me in? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you don't know?
yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
It's a Pennsylvania thing, apparently.
Yep.
So I believe the age is it 16 or 18 and under?
I think anybody under 16 can't be in there without
16.
an adult.
Without an adult. You cannot be inside of a Chick-fil-A if you're under 16 without somebody 18 years or older. Do you have a rule like that in your attraction? We personally don't.
Yeah, no. Thank you. This is the first time I'm hearing this. No.
So if a group of 10-year-olds come in and they buy a ticket, you let them
if
go.
it's a group of 10-year-olds, though, chances are we're going to be like, where's your parent? But if they're 12, 13, 14, like if they're acting up at all, even before they get in the queue, then chances are we're going to be like, sorry, you all don't get to play that game. But you can technically be 10 and above to come through the attraction. But Susie, to your question, no, we don't have anything specific formal that says you have to have an adult, you know, post this age.
We don't either. We don't have issues with it. We never have. We have groups of teenagers that come in, probably middle school. I know, but I have read in a lot of my private groups about a lot of issues with teenagers and how they're going to start implementing rules. I don't know. We don't hear, but like, Kennywood Amusement Park, which is like an hour away from us, that you're not allowed in the park after 4 if you're 16 and younger. I swear. It's like one of those new things they've implemented in the past couple years. And the year they implemented it was the year I bought my kids season passes. And I was like, great, they can drive there, but they're not allowed to stay after 4, which in the summertime, I can't get my kids up out of bed before noon. So I don't know, doesn't leave a whole lot of time. But yeah, I just think, I don't know if it's just a local thing or what, but we don't have issues. Our attraction is small. We have inside and outside security. We have people, there's eyes on people all the time. I feel like sometimes in a larger or an outdoor attraction, you might have that issue where kids are running off in a field or something like that. We do not have that option at all. So we don't have that.
Yeah, I think, Susie, you nailed it on the head, is that we have representation, whether it's safety team, security team, right? Like I think, and Chick-fil-A doesn't.
No.
They have staff, sure, but their staff is so busy running orders and playing customer service that I'm sure what happened is, I'm sure somewhere a fight broke out and probably nothing happened, and now there's a lawsuit because they didn't have supervision. So now they're just saying screw it, and I
think it ended up being a brawl. Like it was like a barroom brawl. Like everybody in the building just got into it.
Chick-fil-A barroom brawl.
It was a lot of teenagers involved in it.
That sucks for them. But yeah, and I think that's it. I think, if there's something to take away from this, is that make sure that you have present, marked safety folks. You put some undercover folks, that's fine, but make sure that they're marked and they have a vest or something so that people at least can see them and be like, cool, okay, I got to mess with that person if I do anything out of line.
So, we have some other questions too, and we'll get to those in just a minute. I've starred them, so don't think we're not reading questions. I got that asked last week. Yes, we are reading questions. We're getting through a lot of information. One of the things, and it was actually brought up in last week's episode, that made me start thinking, is Susie had an over 18 night, and she had everybody sign a waiver. And I have been to a haunted house here in my town that made you do like a thumbs up. You said yes in the camera. It said on the tickets, you can blah, blah, blah. It was a touch haunt. It said you eat up to death, and they were not liable for it. Okay. I have come to find out that they lost every single court case they had because that did not hold up in court when they were injured in the haunt. And like we went on the tours last year, we went to Cutting Edge Haunt. We had to sign digitally on tablets all this waiver stuff. Of course, I didn't read it because I know I'm not going to get hurt, and if I do, I'm not going to sue them because we're all friends, But anyways, does that actually hold up? Because if somebody still got hurt in Susie's haunt, even though they signed a waiver saying whatever yours said, you didn't say all, obviously you didn't read it to us, but does that actually hold up? Or is it just kind of like a don't sue us because you signed a waiver, but it's not going to hold?
Spence can't answer that.
Well, he's got the legal team. I didn't know if it's come up in your experience or a member's and you knew about it. I didn't know if that's been something you've been.
I can answer it the way that we have been answering this question.
Okay.
Which is that Dan's right. But the short version is it's going to depend state by state. There are some states that are going to, that waiver is going to uphold stronger. I'm not going to say it's your fortified wall. It's going to hold up stronger in court. The reality is that, and you said it right on, is that anyone can claim that intent is that they did not read that entire waiver, which means they did not know, and they were being rushed through the line so fast anyway that they just signed it, and now it's back on the operator. That said, and I've had this conversation, if Timber Gminski, who is one of 2 expert witnesses for this entire industry, I had this conversation with him, and he's to the day, he agrees that we should not have a waiver. And I'm like, I love you, Timber. You're a great guy, but we're going to keep our waiver, because when people sign a waiver, they do act more responsibly.
Yes.
That is it.
It lessens the amount of people that are going to
the year that we started having our waivers signed at Fear Factory in Salt Lake City, we saw this. I mean, it just plummeted.
Yep.
The number of people who were acting like punks
jerks
just went down. And we've been doing very, very well since. And it's kind of a good opportunity where we can just say, hey, you guys signed your waiver. The next time, and one of the things that we do, and we didn't recognize that a lot of haunts did not do this until Legendary Haunt Tour came to Salt Lake, and we had all the Legendary Haunt Tour folks at Fear Factory. We have this big ass sign. We're not going to just throw out one of you. We're going to throw out your whole group. So we'll pull the whole group aside and say, listen, you guys all signed your waiver. These are the expectations. You are all about to make a donation to Fear Factory, and you're going to see the outside of the street in a minute. So be on your best behavior. And usually, 95% of the time, they're like, okay.
The friends are like, oh, don't be a dumbass. And they're putting them in line.
So, yeah, it's going to go both ways. There is not a yes or a no answer. It is state by state, but does it help? We're hearing across the board that it does help. And hopefully,
I believe that.
Outside of our industry is watching this right now.
I have a question that goes back to actors. Is there going to be something for the Haunted Attraction Association as far as actors? I think I saw that in your union address.
Yes. So this is part of our 2023. One of our research items is this goes back to that idea of having kind of trainings, like regional trainings, is we also wanted to have a national education. I mean, it's hard to call it education. It's not really education, but training where we essentially have common denominator guidelines. If you're going to act, you're scaring at 45-degree angles. If you're using a weapon, these are what we would suggest using and not using. Should it be real? Should it be not real? All those different, like just really core things of acting, being able to build that out, and then to be able to stretch that out farther, to be able to say, if you essentially go through this training and you're in Tennessee and then you move to California and you can say, oh, well, I've gone through this training, and immediately that Haunted Attraction Association member is like, oh, cool. You're going to go through, you already know the training that we're training our team. Nice. That's kind of the idea. There's a lot of feedback of figuring out how to do that. And I don't know if that's going to be online or if it's going to be in person. Quite frankly, I feel like you can teach acting to an extent this way,
right?
But you got to do it in a room together. Yep. And so we're figuring out how to be able to do that. But there's some really good, there's some good insight in how we're going to hopefully get that lifted off, because that will be a lift off in 2024 or 2025. But we're making really good progress on it. I'd love to see it. I mean, before my tenure is up, I'd like to see that happen. So
yeah, I would agree. I think that's a great addition.
So Corinne wants to know, does HAA cover the Great White North?
Yes, Corinne, we do. In fact, we actually met with someone who is building a Haunted Attraction Association in the UK right now. And so we're working on how do we help them make sure that there are standards that can be in place internationally, not just in specific one country. Okay. So yeah, similar things. There's a lot of benefits. A lot of the resources that are on our portal for members are going to transfer over. Not all of them, obviously, because there are some different laws. But for the most part, I would say a good 90% of that is going to transfer over dot for dot. So,
and if not, it's a good starting point to get, to craft something based on that and then add your laws to it.
Absolutely.
Hugh would like to know if a haunt association like the Canadian Haunters Association, can they join as a association? So like if they get donations from members or things like that, to use that to be a part of the HAA.
Absolutely. So we have a few different associations that are already members. In fact, I actually just had a conversation at Transworld with, I probably can't say who, but a theme park parent company who wants to be HAA members and wants to make sure that each of their parks their different parks is probably the best word, are also members, because there's benefits that they're seeing happening now that are coming out of HAA that theme parks are saying, wait a minute,
why aren't we doing this?
We have something similar to that, but this is better. And that was really great to hear. And it makes me proud that we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah,
so I think, that'll keep growing.
Ken is a very good friend of mine, and he's very pointed, just like me, on his questions. And he is a firefighter, and he's a fantastic firefighter. He certifies lots of things around there and stuff like that. I guess he would want to know if he found something in your fire certification or in this, is there a way that somebody in or outside of the membership could challenge something and say, hey, this is not right, or obviously give advice in that aspect, not say you're bad and wrong, but that
this is where you say just message me.
This one you can private message.
Ken, thank you. Because at the end of the day, so all of our trainings that we're now doing are all peer reviewed, all of them. We're doing that on purpose because it shouldn't just be us on a soapbox saying what we think is right. And so, my request, Ken, is if you're up for it, shoot a message to our email, hauntedattractionassociation@gmail.com, and let's get you on our peer review on our board. And then that way you're able to look at that content, so that when we get ready for the Chaos program for 2024, that you have a chance to take a look at it. And if you haven't done the class, then it's good feedback at the end of the day. So
he could probably add some of the Canadian stuff to that. Not that there's a huge difference in fighting fires between Canada and the US, but I know they have different codes about what they may be required to have. Like, I've been to Ken's home haunt, and it is an extensive home haunt that would, if it wasn't built by him, it would go up so quick in a fire. But I know that if there was a fire at Ken's haunt, very, very little of it would go up. Like, he has fire extinguishers everywhere. He's got sensors. He has people within the fire department help him.
That's awesome.
So there is no way that anything's going to happen there. So he is a great resource, and I know that he would be that, he'd be awesome for that.
Yeah. Please send us that email, Ken.
So I think it's time, even though we are way over time, and I don't care because I'm having a great time. I think it's time for something we like to call
rapid fire questions. Are you ready, Spence?
Ready. Hold on.
There you go.
Bring it.
Okay.
Here we go.
First question. If you had 1 hour with any haunter, who would it be?
If I had 1 hour with any haunter, who would it be? Honestly, it'd probably be Ben from Netherworld. He's a legend. And because his attraction is big, like our attraction is big, there's a lot of things that I feel like I don't have a lot of the right answers, but I know someone who does. And usually that someone is Ben. So yes, Ben.
This is true. All right. Question 2. You're the first one on your favorite trade show floor. What booth do you go to first, and what do you purchase?
Oh, shoot. Can I answer this as president? Man, there's
yes.
Okay.
No, you're going to answer it as Fear Factor.
Okay.
Fear Factory owner.
As Fear Factory, I'm going to go to Fright Props. I'm going to go see Doug and the team, because we're building animatronics and we have to repair animatronics. And then I'm going to go see probably Gorgalore, and then I'm going to go see, and the list goes on and on, but I'm also going to go to see Joe over at Zombie Skin because he has cookies. Joe, I'm sorry if I should not tell the world that, but man, they're good, and God bless your mom. So there's my answer.
That's awesome. Well, that leads into the third question. Dan or Troy?
It depends. Depends on what the next question is going to be.
That's what they said. Last week.
You have to answer
I already know the answer, though. Do you want to know what the answer is?
Yeah.
Susie.
I knew it. You got to put me on there.
I have to add another column to the paper.
No. Don't make me an option. But
Now, question number 4.
But I like that.
If you had a chance to go to any haunted attraction, which one would it be? And you can't say Ben again.
No. If I could go to any attraction, which would it be? There are so many attractions doing cool shit right now. I mean, like, even looking at the tours that were lined up last year and this year, and I was like, I need more time in the day. Like, there's a lot. You've got a lot. You've got haunts that are building bars into their attractions right now.
Yep.
In fact, Hush, Cody Bailey, that's on our board, but Hush is on the MHC tour.
Yep.
and he will probably be showing off those bars. That's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
We talked about Bart and Mike. Tearing the Corn is a great attraction. Love it. Dark Hour. Alan runs a really great attraction.
Yes.
The list goes on. There's some great ones. And I think what's great is that the industry, COVID really pushed us into a really tight space, and a lot of folks pivoted in just really killer ways that now I'm just like, holy crap, like I got to go see that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. A bummer.
All right. So here's one that I know you can answer. Actors or animatronics?
Actors.
See?
Yeah.
That was easy.
Ended on a solid there.
Yeah.
Ended it on a solid.
Maybe we should keep a tally of that one too. I'll keep a tally because I know Kevin said actors.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and that said, that also comes from someone who has 120, 130 actors on payroll every night. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely nights where I'm like, I need 20 really good actors, and the rest could be animatronics.
Trust me, I know. I don't know how I'd answer that question. Honestly, it would depend on the night. Totally, I would answer it differently every single night.
Okay, but
probably what time of the night too.
Yeah.
True.
You could also answer it as an attendee, not as an owner or a producer or a worker. As an attendee, which would you prefer?
Yep.
You know what's funny? Probably animatronics.
See, I go actor. I go actor all the time.
Yeah, mine would still be actor too.
I think you know why? I'm always disappointed in actors.
But see, they're organic.
It's my area.
And that means you're not giving them anything to work with, Susie.
I'm not. Absolutely.
Or you have really great animatronics.
Well, yeah, that too.
It's true.
I've just come from a place where I can walk into a haunt and I can hear that air release, and then I know something's coming, and it's ruined. Yeah. Like I'm like, great, here it comes.
No, I get that, but like it's almost like for me, like going to Transworld when you go into the dark zone and you're just like, oh my God, look at all these cool things. So it's not about the scare, it's about the entertainment for me. Yeah. Whereas I go to haunts sometimes and I'm like, and you said I don't give them anything to work with. Well, then they're not good actors.
Well, true that. It does go both ways. They are going to seek out somebody they think they can get.
I'm heavy on the actors in my haunt. Very heavy. We get really good, comments about that. And me, myself, I am an actor. So I expect me from all my actors, and I'm double and sometimes triple their ages. So
high bar.
Yeah, very.
All right. That wraps up this episode. But before we do that, we always have to talk about what's on next week. What do you got for next week, Troy?
Well, no, we got to do the.
We don't.
We have to do the. We do.
Okay.
We have
do it.
We have to show the.
Do it already.
I'm trying to get back to the dang screen.
Do it.
So if
do it,
technology's hard.
Do
it. If you want more about all of this, stuff. Well, it's also loading, and I got a big storm through the air too. Do it. So, Haunted Attraction Association on Facebook. Boom, there it is. Like it. See, I liked this one. I liked it. It's right there. It says liked. So you can go there. Obviously, they have the hauntedattractionassociation.com. You can go there. Don't watch the video because it's old and boring.
Bring some popcorn for Dan.
Fear Factory. Fear Factory, Salt Lake City. I have been there. It is awesome.
We had a good time. I'm glad you got to come. It was fun.
Yes. I had a great, my wife's over here giving me the sign, so whatever. And they also have a website.
Please record that and let me have a button.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
I will make sure you get a soundbite of that. So fearfactoryslc.com. You can go there, do all the awesome stuff that they have there. Salt Lake City is a fantastic place to see a haunted house. It is one of the coolest places to drive through in the winter. You drive along the city and the backdrop is this giant mountain. And it's the coolest freaking place to drive through. It's so awesome. So fearfactoryslc.com, halloweenbackgroundchecks.com. And next week, I have to share the screen differently. Hold on. We have gotta hate. We had a great show up until she walked in the room.
Oh,
it's better now.
It's even better now.
It's perfect.
I know. .com. So next week we have Mike and Lori Ross from Sinister Sydney, and Hunt Chat Live and all 1,800,000 things that Mike does. So
And then some.
we will have him next week.
Awesome. Well, that wraps up our show. Thank you, Spence, for coming on, talking about the Haunted Attraction Association, giving us a little backstory. We really do appreciate it. It sounds like it's coming. It's definitely not sounds. It's definitely come a long, long way from what it was even 3 years ago. So we and in the industry really appreciate you stepping up and being the face to get this thing off the ground and running. And I look forward to seeing where it goes in the next couple of years, and hopefully it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up.
That's the idea. Keep supporting and keep moving. And same, likewise, y'all are killing it. Keep up the good work. Season 3, here we go.
Here we go. Woo-hoo. Woot-woot. All right. Before I send off, though, I write everything down, and I have my little notes here and stuff. It's not on here, but so I do voice to text, and I was reading back through this, and it says about wraps up this episode of the hot shower.
The hot shower,
not the hot hour. The hot shower.
Some of us need that after this show.
I'm leaving that in.
Wow.
So that wraps up this episode of the hot shower. Appreciate everybody being here.
Damn it, Sean.
There it is.
Patty.
We're done now. That's it. I appreciate everybody for coming on. Thank you, Spence, again for being a good guest and listening to us make idiots out of ourselves. So again,
love it.
Oh my gosh, the panties are just coming in. If anybody makes a T-shirt, I want to say haunt hour on the front, and I want panties on the back.
It just says panties.
Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome.
No, I do not need a closing video. I've made enough videos. I'm not making any more videos.
I do feel like we need a closing video, Trey. And I need some audio over this. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. We will see you next Tuesday night, 8:00.
Yep.
Good night.